I'll start with a disclaimer right away because there's an important aspect of this video that you need to know. As always, this is a theory video. These are mere guesses and deductions I made from my own personal point of view. I might get something right, I might be completely wrong, only time will tell. The important thing is that this video has two endings. Let me explain. I'm going to talk about the Archon names, the ones from the Ars Goetia. I will basically try and guess the names of the Hydro, Pyro, Dendro and Cryo Archons, their personality and their story through the extensive research I've done in this past 2 weeks. I will also use the names of the Hypostasis, which are actually connected to the Archons. I will explain in a second. Since I've been forcibly exposed to a few leaks from the titles of some videos in the recommended section of YouTube, after the first ending I will talk about the leaked names of the Hydro and Dendro Archons. Thing is, the leaked names don't make sense to me, that's why I want to talk about them. Don't worry though, I will warn you about this again during the first ending, so you will have plenty of time to stop the video. There will be a timer on screen as well. By the way, I made the video you're watching right now, so if you liked it, you can find it on my TikTok, ShadowX5452 Gaming, so why don't you check it out? Before we begin, I'd like to explain why I think the Hypostasis are connected to the Archons. The developers have actually always given us a hint about this. If you watch the Electro Hypostasis during this attack, you can clearly see this symbol. It is very similar to the seals of the demons from the Ars Goetia and to the seals of King Solomon in general. There is also a Gnostic interpretation of part of the Genesis called Hypostasis of the Archons. On Wikipedia there's a list of 16 characters, but since the list exists only on Wikipedia, it doesn't feel like a valid resource, even though the number 16 made sense for the Pyro Hypostasis. Then, every demon of the Ars Goetia has an angelic counterpart in the Shem Forage, but the description of the angels don't really fit. I tried looking at the meaning of the Hebrew letters and numbers, which are the Hypostasis' names, nothing. Until one day I thought about the tarot cards, and everything made sense. If you consider the card number 0, the Fool, as the first card of the deck, and you look at the corresponding Kabbalistic letter, which is from the Hebrew alphabet, everything falls into place. There's still one tiny little thing I want to talk about. It's a curiosity that is driving me crazy and I can't find the answer, but not yet at least. When the Hypostasis assume their seal form, so either in the air or on the ground, they show this Latin sentence, Ex culmine lucis in magno elementorum. This sentence appears also during this attack of the Geo Hypostasis. Now, I've actually studied Latin for 8 years through middle and high school, and I was 100% certain I wasn't going to open my Latin vocabulary ever again, but here we are. My translation is very different from those you'll find online, which are based off of Google Translate. It translates into from the pinnacle of the light as the great one of the elements. This sentence also has an extended version in Mona's Astrolabe, which continues with Lux se fundat in mentes Dei, which means may the light surrender to God's minds. Furthermore, there's an even more extended but edited version in the grimoire of the Abyss Lector Violet Lightning that says Ego sum fatus abyssi, ergo mundo ex culmine lucis in magno obscuritatis, lux se fundat in mentes abysso. Which means, I am the destiny of the abyss, hence I purify from the pinnacle of the light as the great one of the darkness. May the light surrender to the minds for or in favor of the abyss. I will find the answer to this, just you wait. Alright, with that being said, let's begin. Let's start with the Hydro Archon. We actually know quite a lot about her, and she has always piqued my curiosity for some reasons. The god of justice pretends to be a saint without flaws, better even than the other archons, but she bows to the heavenly principles because she knows she can win the argument. She's not the original Archon, and she's not liked by the people and beings of Fontaine, while the original Archon was loved by everybody and had a really noble mission, to connect everybody through water. When the original Archon died, many left Fontaine, especially the Lochfolk, aka the Oceanid, who didn't want to acknowledge the god of justice as new Archon and self-exiled. From the Tevat chapter storyline preview, Travail, we can kinda guess that the god of justice isn't actually as just and righteous as she wants everybody to believe. The chapter is called Masquerade of the Guilty, and the Latin sentence Justitia omnia vincit, which means justice always wins, makes me think we will expose her lies and she will be judged by her own court of justice. The Hydro Hypostasis, called He, the fifth Hebrew letter, corresponds to the tarot card, the Emperor, which represents the highest leadership, the head of a state, the most exemplary and powerful person in the realm. Fits like a glove. The demon of the Ars Goetia that best recalled the god of justice is Gab. He is the king of either the southern or the western region of Hell on Earth. He controls the element of water and reigns over the water elementals or water demons. He can also make people ignorant, which is really interesting. If I'm right about the name, is she causing the spectacles of the courtroom on purpose for her own amusement? There's also a chance that this is the name of the original Hydro Archon, since he or she commanded the Oceanids, and the demon Gab commands water demons, so... Let's talk about the Pyro Archon. She's a huge mystery actually, which is making my imagination run wild. We know from the manga that her name is Murata. Her descendants are a tribe characterized by the love for combat, and they have fiery red hair. She's the god or lady of war, which I believe it just means that she enjoys fighting, not actual wars. Now here's the problem. We know she was alive 1,000 years ago when Venti met Vanessa, because he speaks about her in present tense. But we also know that, except for Morax and Barbados, every other original Archon died. So, who's ruling over Natlan? No one. My guess is that she's not entirely dead, or that she's about to die. The Travail video calls the Archon quest Incandescent Ode of Resurrection, and Dainslev also says,
"The rules of war are woven in the womb. The victors shall burn bright, while the losers must turn to ash."
The Latin inscription reads Surge vir fortis innatam victoriam, which means rise, strong man, and go to the victory that's rightfully yours by birth. On the Genshin Impact wiki they translate it as destined victory, but it loses the nuance of the word natam, which implies something deserved by birth. I think we will meet either Murata's consciousness or a dying Murata, and we will help her decide who the new Pyro Archon will be. The Pyro Hypostasis, named Ayin, the 16th letter of the Hebrew alphabet, is represented by the tarot card the Devil, which means the realm of taboo, culturally rejected wildness, and the shadow side that each of us carries in our subconscious, but also volcanic reserves of passion and primal desire. I believe we will find pure chaos and anarchy in Natlan, which is why we will have to find Murata's successor. About the Ars Goetia, I have three choices. Eligos, who reveals secrets, predicts future wars, knows all secrets of war and sees the future. Chimaris, a warrior who transforms men into warriors. It is said that his name comes from the Chimerians, a warlike people like the Muratans in Genshin Impact. And Amy, which I think is the most likely one. He is represented as a humanly shaped pillar of flames, and he was an angel who was misguided into joining the rebellion against God. He created a miniature sun that imploded into a supernova, but the blast also set him ablaze, which he believed to be his punishment from God for his rebellion. Maybe Murata did something like that in Kanria, which led to her demise. I won't say too much about Kusanali because with the live stream, everything I say may be considered a spoiler rather than a theory. I will talk about her a little bit more after the first ending though. Right now, let's talk about the Dendro Hypostasis. I think it's going to be called Zayin, the 7th Hebrew letter, which corresponds to the tarot card The Lovers. This card is all about making an either-or choice that requires sacrificing the lesser option. On the card there's Eve with the tree of knowledge behind her, and Adam with the tree of life behind him. On the tree of knowledge there's a snake, which is temptation, but Eve is looking at the angel who's given them blessings. Originally the card had two women, I guess Eve and Lilith, the first woman created by God according to Hebrew folklore, beside a man. For the name from the Ars Goetia, I think the demon that best fits Kusanali is Marbas. He answers truly on hidden or secret things, causes and heals diseases, and gives wisdom and knowledge. His name also comes from a plant used in witchcraft. That's all I'm going to say for now. The Cryo Archon, the Tsaritsa. In my first theory video I guessed something, and now I'm even more certain I actually guessed right. But first, what do we know about her? We know that Snezhnaya has a cultural profound disdain for betrayal and disloyalty, which could mean something or nothing at all. From the Shivada Jade gemstone, we know that she lost someone important to her, And we know that this happened during the Cataclysm because...
You see, a certain catastrophe happened 500 years ago, and after that, she cut off all ties with me.
She was...
actually a gentle soul. Too gentle, in fact.
Lastly, we know that she wants...
absolute peace. Such is the gift from the Tsaritsa, such is Her Majesty's benevolence.
What's interesting about the Travail video is that Dainslev's Chinese lines say, "She is a god whom no one will love ever again. She is a god who will never love anyone again." In my first video, I guessed that the previous Cryo Archon could have been her husband. They ruled together over Snezhnaya and they had a kid. During the Cataclysm, the Cryo Archon went to Caria with their kid and they both died there. That's when she became the Cryo Archon and began her war against Celestia. There's also a chance that her kid was the previous Cryo Archon who died in Caria. I ruled out the possibility that she lost the person she loved because it would have been the same story as Signora's. Let's analyze the Cryo Hypostasis, Dalet. It's a fourth Hebrew letter and it's associated with the tarot card, the Empress. This card means energy of a mother, queen that ruled the land, caring, forgiving, generous. Is that a coincidence? I think not. When it comes to the Ars Goetia though, there is just one demon that somewhat fits her war against the Archons and Celestia, but there's also a tiny problem. Flauros, a human leopard with big claws. He gives true answers of all things from the past, present and future. He speaks about divinity, the creation of the world, and the other fallen angels. He is called upon when someone wants revenge, even against other demons. The tiny problem is that he burns the enemies. Maybe it was an artistic choice and she freezes the enemies in Genshin Impact. I mean, there's not even a single demon in the Ars Goetia who has ice powers, so you take what you can get, right? And by the way, the Shivada Jade Gemstone also says, "Burn away the old world for me," so you could associate the Tsaritsa with burning. I will show you now the connection I made for Barbados, Morax and Baal. If you're interested, you can pause the video and read. I won't speak about them, otherwise the video would be too long. And this is the first ending of the video. As you can see from the warning, when the time's up, I will talk about Kusanali a little bit more, so spoiler alert. There will be another countdown while I talk about her, because after that I will talk about the leaked names of the Hydro and Dendro Archons, which honestly don't really sound right to me. If you're stopping here but you like the video, remember to leave a thumbs up, and if you have suggestions, questions, theories, or if you disagree with mine, let me know in the comment section and let's discuss about it together. It feels strange to say when it's not the actual ending of the video, but over and out. Let's talk about Kusanali. We saw from the live stream that she's losing her powers and maybe she's dying as well. She's starting to disappear both physically and from the people's minds. She's faced with a choice, something that she needs to do before her time's up. She says,
"We don't have any more festivals to waste."
The fact that she disappears out of thin air like in this scene makes me believe that what the tarot card shows, the choice between the Tree of Knowledge and the Tree of Life, is actually going to be central in her Archon quest. I'm thinking that maybe it isn't Dottore who's going to burn down the gigantic tree, maybe it's going to be Kusanali's choice and the Traveler is going to be a deciding factor. Also, extremely interesting, listen to what this person says.
The sages later found the newly born Dendro Archon and whisked her back to Sumeru.
This confirms my theory that Kusanali was born out of Rukkhadevata when she died. The tree gave birth to its last flower. This is further confirmed by the fact that the sages hate the Sub-Zero's festival because it celebrates Kusanali's birth, but at the same time it's Rukkhadevata's death anniversary as well.
Maybe they see Lesser Lord Kusanali's birth as confirmation of Greater Lord Rukkhadevata's death.
This also means that Kusanali quote-unquote reigns over Sumeru, but she wasn't born there at all, and the irony, she was born in Caria, the nation without gods, where Rukkhadevata died. Lastly, Kusanali never received their gnosis. The sages owned it from the beginning and they used it to create the Akasha system. Okay, the timer is almost up. This means that when it reaches 0, I'll talk about leaks. This is your last warning. The leaked Dendro Archon's name is Buer. He teaches natural and moral philosophy, logic, and the quality and uses of all herbs and plants. I mean, okay, this demon knows all about herbs and plants, but so does Morax, Bathin, Stolas, Bifrons, Foras, and also Decorabia, so it's not like it's unique or anything, it's just too predictable and doesn't give any information about the Archon at all. The leaked Hydro Archon's name is Focalor. He's a very violent and dangerous demon who has power over wind and sea. He was deceived into thinking he would have been able to return to heaven after 1,000 years. Once again, he just rules over wind and sea, but differently from Buer, at least he has an interesting story that could be used in Genshin Impact. Off the top of my head, I could think that she was given her Archon seed by Celestia itself, and she was led to believe that it would have been enough to be an actual Archon. But since her people hate her, she can't really hold her position. Maybe that's also why the people from Fontaine are looking for an alternate source of power, because her own power isn't fit for the job. Alright, the video is over now, this is the actual ending. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember, leave a thumbs up. If you want to discuss leaked names in the comment section, please start your comment with leaks, so that people can avoid reading if they don't want to know. Okay, this time's for real. Over and out.